Namaste, Jai Bharat. I happen to observe few things in connection with the tariff which US is imposing on many nations, including us. Highest tariff is imposed on China and on many other nations. Now, China was trying to take advantage of the situation of tariff on most countries in the world, almost all. And they were trying to make a kind of nexus or a union of such states that let's be together, let's also react in some given ways, fanciful ways. So this effort was going on, that was being attended to, getting attended to by many other nations. Then suddenly China receives a jolt from the blue. As I understand, as a news that I receive, I presumably authentic, correct. Suddenly, the US President says, all tariffs which are imposed on other nations, I am going to keep it in abeyance for 90 days. But the tariff on China stands. This part I am not very clear. I hope what I understood is correct. For China, it remains as it is, 100 plus. 104 someone says, 125 someone says, I'm not very clear about it. So the tariff to China stands, and tariffs to all others, I keep it in abeyance for 90 days, and this puts China in quagmire. China was trying to get support for the nations, including Bharat. They were trying desperate. And with this announcement of 90 days, then the other nations suddenly find it, there's no point in going and talking to China. We have 90 days. They can speak to the president. We could speak to President Trump and get some concessions. They shall be happy with. Because no one wants to spoil relations with a country like US, which is most powerful, obviously, whether you like it or not, but they are very powerful in all kinds of manner. So why going and hitting her on hard rock? So no one wants to do it. China is desperate. They are out. They have their bloated up ego. So with this situation, China shall be in for a bigger soup. Because as China expected, the support does not come from the other nations. They thought that I'll keep them together and then I'll bargain. At the cost of other small nations, they will get trade benefits. This was the original plan of China, but then that backfired with this quick decision. This kind of decision. See, this is interesting. The US is changing strategies. Changing strategies as required by the time. Depending on the time requirement, China's in for soup. They already challenged the US. And US doesn't buy that much things from China, but US buys. China doesn't buy that many things from US. US is not exporting that much things in quantity to China, but China depends on US and other European nations for the total export. They export all over. So obviously, China shall face serious difficulties. What US will face could be negligible in front of what China is facing. And US has a much more better stable economy as compared to China. China's economy can get into difficulty any time. And China, remember, is in a dictatorial kind of government, which I don't think people in China shall be happy with that, because they don't have what we have, which is called freedom. They don't have this thing which is called freedom as we have, and I don't know that to what extent their generation understand the concept of freedom. We have difficulties with democracy. In the case of the Havrana's extradition, there will be a lot of arguments and procedures and discussions and talks, democracy, but nonetheless, with all these drawbacks, with all the drawbacks of democracy, democracy is still the best possible political system in the entire world, in the history of world. That you have to agree. We know there are a lot of shortcomings in democracy, a lot of difficulties, a lot of funny people can do a lot of funny things in spite of all those things. Absolutely, there's no doubt that's the best form of governance. So China is now in soup, and if this tariff remains for a longer period, need not go up to 1 year, much less than 1 year, they will have to face jazz music or DJ music. Anyway, solid music. We shall meet again with some other thought. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Shri Ram.